Welcome to Book Haven.
Ever feel like you're spinning your wheels trying to get people to do things your way?
Oh yeah, definitely
You're
so.
constantly trying to control everything and everyone around you.
I think we all do to some extent, right?
Yeah, it can be exhausting.
For sure.
Well, get this. What if the secret to a less stressful and happier life is actually about letting go of that control?
Interesting.
That's exactly what Mel Robbins dives into in her new book, Let Them.
Yeah, I saw that was coming out soon.
Coming out on December 24th, actually.
Oh wow, perfect timing for the new year.
Yeah, maybe it's a sign. So we wanted to do a deep dive into this whole let them theory because it's making waves in the self-help world.
It really is getting a lot of buzz.
It is, and I think it's a really timely topic, with all the stress and anxiety people are facing these days.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of that comes from that feeling of lack of control.
Exactly. So to help us unpack all this, we have an expert in self-help and personal development strategies with us today.
Happy to be here.
I'm really excited to break this down.
Yeah, me too. So you want to start with sort of like the core of the let them theory.
Yeah, like what is it really all about?
Okay, so basically it's about this shift, right? Shifting from trying to control everything external to you.
Okay, so like people and situations.
Yeah, exactly. Those things you can't really control no matter how hard you try.
Which, let's be honest, is a lot of things.
Right, and so Mel Robbins argues that this constant striving for control over what's outside of our control is actually the root of a lot of our stress and unhappiness.
Makes sense. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so instead, she says, we need to turn that focus inward and focus on what we can control.
Which is ourselves.
Exactly, our own thoughts, our reactions, our behaviors.
So it's less about changing the world around us and more about changing how we respond to it.
That's a really good way to put it.
Okay, I'm starting to get it, but can we make it more concrete? Can you give us an example?
Sure, so imagine you're trying to get your partner to load the dishwasher the right way.
Oh, I know that one.
Right, it seems like such a small thing, but...
Where it can be so frustrating.
Exactly, and that frustration comes from trying to control something you can't control your partner's actions.
Because they're going to load it their way regardless.
Right, so the let them approach would say, hey, let go of that need to micromanage the dishwasher.
Just let it go.
Except that they do it differently and focus instead on what you can control.
Like my own reaction.
Exactly. You can choose to get annoyed or you can choose to just let it go and appreciate that, hey, at least the dishes are getting done.
Right, and it's probably less stressful in the long run.
Way less stressful. And this idea isn't just some feel-good philosophy either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's actually research to back it up. There was a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology in 2018.
Okay.
And it found that practicing acceptance of things outside our control, like other people's behaviors, actually led to significant reductions in anxiety and stress.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right, because you're not fighting reality anymore.
You're just accepting it.
Exactly.
I like that. So it sounds like this let them theory isn't just about letting go of control in these little everyday situations.
No, it goes deeper than that.
It's more about a mindset shift.
Exactly. It's about learning to prioritize your own well-being and setting boundaries.
So it's not letting people walk all over you.
No, not at all. It's more about choosing your battles wisely and recognizing that you can't force people to change.
You can only control your own response.
Right, and this can actually be really empowering.
Because you're taking back control in a way.
Exactly, you're taking control of your own life and your own emotional well-being.
Okay, this is all making a lot of sense, but I do have one question.
Yeah, what's that?
Are there ever situations where letting go might not be the best approach?
That's a great question, and it's important to remember that let them isn't about becoming passive or avoiding difficult conversations.
Okay, so it's not about being a doormat.
No, definitely not. It's more about recognizing when your attempts to control are doing more harm than good.
So like when it's actually hurting you more than helping.
Exactly. Sometimes setting a boundary is letting go.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, sure. So let's say you have a friend who's constantly asking for last-minute favors or
Right.
always showing up late.
Yeah, we all have that friend.
Right. And it's driving you crazy because you feel like you have to say yes or you feel resentful when they're disrespectful of your time.
Yeah, totally.
So a let them boundary, in this case, might be politely but firmly declining those last-minute requests.
So you're not trying to control their behavior, you're just controlling your own response.
Right. You're letting go of the need to please them or fix them, and you're prioritizing your own needs.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's about recognizing that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to let go.
Exactly. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing to do.
It can be, but it sounds like it can also be the most freeing.
It can be incredibly freeing, and it can open up space for more genuine connection in your relationship.
Because you're not constantly trying to change people.
Right. You're accepting them for who they are, and you're focusing on your own growth.
I love that. And I have to say, just hearing about this is making me think about all the ways I'm trying to control things in my own life.
I think it's something we all do.
Yeah, and I think it's so ingrained in us to try to control everything.
Especially in our culture where we're taught that we have to be in control all the time.
Right, it's like this badge of honor.
Totally.
But it's so exhausting.
It really is, and I think that's why this let them message is resonating with so many people.
Yeah, it's like this permission slip to let go of the things we can't control and to focus on what really matters.
And to find that peace and joy that comes from that acceptance.
I love that. So before we wrap up, I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's just starting to explore this let them concept?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Like, how do you even begin to identify those areas where you're trying to control too much?
I think a good place to start is to ask yourself, what's one area of your life where you're constantly feeling frustrated or drained? And then ask yourself, is that frustration coming from me trying to force an outcome or change someone else's behavior?
And if so,
Then ask yourself, what would it look like to let go of that need for control in that situation?
wow, that's so powerful because it's putting the power back in your hands.
Exactly. You always have a choice.
You can choose to keep fighting, or you can choose to let go.
And sometimes letting go is the bravest and most loving thing you can do.
For yourself and for others.
Exactly.
Wow, I'm walking away from this conversation with so much to think about.
Me too.
This has been so insightful.
I'm glad we could dive into this.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I know our listeners are going to get a lot out of this as well.
I hope so.
So to everyone listening, I encourage you to really sit with these questions.
Yeah, take some time to reflect.
Think about where you might be clinging to control a little too tightly.
And ask yourself, what would it look like to let go?
Because you might be surprised at how much peace and freedom you find on the other side.
You really might.
Thank you so much for this incredible conversation.
It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.
Grab The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, now on sale for just $20.34. Don't miss this chance to build good habits and achieve remarkable results. Click pre-order now today.
Like and subscribe for more Book Haven podcasts.